Are you there? Yay.
Okay, hello everyone. Good day, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Um, Welcome to the virtual monthly meetup for Global Chamber Los Angeles. I'm so glad to see many of you here with our first virtual monthly meetup for 2026. We meet every month, every third Thursday of the month at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And so, just to give a little background about these meetups and what the focus is that every month we get together, the Global Chamber Los Angeles, as well as anyone else who joins us virtually, to talk about some of the opportunities. Sometimes it'll just be the members where we're talking about our organizations, any needs, the resources that we have to offer. And then as in the case of today, we will have a guest speaker who can also talk about some of the opportunities that are available that will benefit many of those that are attending or those that watch the video afterward. Before I get started, I just wanted to introduce to see if he has any words. Doug Brunke, the Executive Director for the Global Chamber Los Angeles and the CEO for Global Chamber, to see if you have any words before I introduce our guest speaker.
Oh, thank you, Sarita. Thank you for your leadership, and thank all of you for attending. The new year portends well, despite the fact that there's lots of noise going on right now. The world has always been complicated. There's not much we can do about that, but we can build connections. We can build business. We can create positive change in the world. And that's what we're certainly trying to do. And I know for the Global Tribe, you're all doing that as well. And so our goal is through Globi and through these meetings and through connections that we make that we do, despite all of the noise and despite, quite honestly, with a lot of craziness that's all around us, we can make connections that grow business and we can create positive change in the world. One of the people that's doing that every day is Sarita Jackson with her clients, and another is Christine Peterson with the programming through the Los Angeles City. So thank you both for speaking today and look forward to learning more.
Great. Thank you so much, Doug. Well, without further ado, I would like to introduce Christine Peterson, who has been involved with Global Chamber Los Angeles for several years now. I know when I joined, Christine was a part of Global Chamber LA, so we have spoken a lot when it comes to international trade and particularly with the African region. And so Christine Peterson is the Director of International Trade and Investment with the Office of the Los Angeles Mayor. And so she is going to share some of the opportunities, focus on 2026, what we have looking forward to. And as many of you know, we have the FIFA World Cup coming to the city of Los Angeles. And then yesterday, this is why I'm so focused on the Summer Olympics. Yes, I did enter the drawing for this summer 20 for the 28 Olympics here in the city of Los Angeles, the Summer Olympics. And so, but the main focus will be on what are the opportunities, what do we need to know about the opportunities in 2026. So I will turn it over to Christine Peterson and she will share those opportunities, and afterwards we will engage in a discussion.
Great. And then Sarita, how long should I keep my presentation to? How many minutes do you think?
I would say about 20-25 minutes.
Okay,
And
great.
that will give us plenty of time to, yeah, for questions
Yeah,
and answers.
happy to do some Q&A as well. So for those that I haven't had the opportunity to meet yet, my name is Christine Peterson. I'm the Senior Director of International Trade and Investment in the Office of Mayor Karen Bass. I've been here since she took the role in December 2023, and previously worked in the office of Mayor Eric Garcetti for a few years. So have been with the city for 7 years now. That goes by very quickly. Yeah, there's been a lot of change, I would say, over those past 7 years, and no year has been more disruptive, I would say, than 2025 when it comes to trade and investment. So There was a lot to respond to. I don't know if the folks on the call feel this way, but it definitely felt like we were often in response and react mode. I think hopefully in 2026 we'll see a shift more to be able to plan and be more proactive. So a little bit about the mayor's office and what we do. I will try to share my screen here. Um, one moment, please. All right. So hopefully you all can see this. But the two, within the Mayor's Office of International Affairs, we have a team that works on international trade and investment that's led by me. And then we also have a team that does international relations policy and protocol, including all of being the point of contact for the city and all of the consular core. And then we have a third team, which is newer, that's focused on international events and sports diplomacy. One of the big objectives of that team is to attract hospitality houses, national hospitality houses to the city for not only the Olympic and Paralympic Games in 2028, but also FIFA World Cup. And there's some exciting announcements coming out soon, just next week. So stay tuned for that. So how we go about growing exports and attracting FDI, these are some of the ways we do it. For growing exports, we have partnerships and networks in key industry sectors. Sarita mentioned Africa, and that definitely is a focus for this mayor and for this administration. And then we have entered into, for example, an agreement with Finland that's focused on sustainability. Just tomorrow, this is a little bit of a preview, we'll be announcing a renewal of an agreement with Singapore and looking back on some of the successes that came out of the first MOU with Enterprise Singapore from 2022 to 2025. So that's a little bit of a preview, and happy to share more information about that tomorrow after it takes place. We also organize trade missions. Those have been a little more few and far between in recent years because of COVID, but we managed to do some virtual trade missions even during COVID. We work with diaspora communities to open new markets, create networking opportunities for LA businesses. We helped put together a roundtable with the president of Botswana, for example, that I know Sarita was able to join. We work with the LA Area Chamber of Commerce on the California China Business Forum, which happens every year in June. That's another one to keep an eye out for because it is an annual and large event. We also work to raise awareness of the benefits of exporting. I know this is something very close to Elizabeth Lynn's heart as well, and she's been a great partner there. This year is really important, a really important opportunity because it is the 100th anniversary of World Trade Week. So there is going to be a lot of focus on the benefits of engaging in the global economy of exporting, and that will be at the end of May this year. We also work with export service providers to equip small and medium-sized businesses with resources and tools to export. That is becoming more challenging because some of our partners, the staffing has dwindled over 2025 due to the government workforce reduction. So we need all the help we can get there. On the foreign direct investment side, we support the diplomatic corps with a lot of information, guides, and resources, and look to this group and many of our partners to help get the word out about what the LA economy really is. A lot of people think it's just Hollywood and entertainment, and while that is very important. There's so much more going on here, as you all know. And so it's important to get that information out. We also host a lot of foreign delegations, business delegations, to really encourage job creating investments to the city of LA, but not just the city of LA, just to the county and to the broader region as well. We are definitely using the major events that are coming to LA as a hook to get people interested in all that LA has to offer. And serving as liaisons between foreign companies and city departments. So if you're ever working with a foreign company that's investing in LA that is just stuck on a permitting issue or a regulation that's within the remit of the city of LA, we can help overcome those challenges together. And then we promote LA for FDI wherever we go, but a lot of speaking engagements. And really, part of that is improving LA's reputation for openness, sustainability, and social impact, and really letting the world know what LA represents. A little bit about the recent changes in our trading partners. This is for the LA Metro Statistical Area, which covers LA County and Orange County. Overall, exports have stayed pretty steady. However, we have seen, I think it's interesting to focus on where the big growth is coming from. And that's Australia, France, the UK, and Japan. So those are some fast growing export markets that you can see have been quite successful over this past year. As you all likely know, 40% of US trade comes through the LA ports. And so we have the best trade infrastructure right in our backyard. And 29,000 LA companies export, more than 29,000. 95% of them are small and medium-sized enterprises. And I think that's always a good stat to share for those who are considering exporting but feel like they're too small to do it. LA companies, the city of LA is the third largest metro exporter in the country, and California, you hear a lot about California as now the fourth or fifth largest economy in the world. If LA County were a country, it would be the 20th largest economy in the world. So we would be in the G20 with a total GDP of 962 billion. The LA metro area is 1.3 trillion. And LA companies are responsible for nearly 1/3 of California's exports. So that is a big hub for California's exports. When we look at the foreign direct investment side of the house, there has been increases year over year, about 5.5%. And again, some of the big increases have come from Sweden at nearly 80%, the Netherlands at 33%, and Japan as well, with even staying at the top of the list, but still increasing by 30%. So those are some great numbers. These are from the LAEDC's World Trade Center LA annual reports. So looking forward, another big development from the past year is that India opened its first consulate in LA. So it'll be covering Southern California and some of the American Southwest. That's important because we know that when a country has an official diplomatic presence in LA, they are more likely to be a top export partner or a top trade partner and a source of foreign direct investment. You can see here some of the countries that don't have a diplomatic presence in LA yet. Vietnam is a big one that stands out. Doug, I know you were saying that the mayor of San Bernardino is originally from Vietnam. So That's interesting. We've been working really hard to try and attract a Vietnamese consulate to Los Angeles and have gotten some commitments. But it is I would say, moving a little bit more slowly than the India example. So those are the Vietnam is a top priority for attracting a consulate to LA. We would also be interested in Sweden, Denmark, Singapore, the Netherlands, and Nigeria. Thankfully, Sweden and Denmark each have honorary consuls general, as does the Netherlands. Singapore and the Netherlands also have business support offices, Enterprise Singapore for Singapore, and then the Netherlands Business Support Office. And when we look at in the previous slide, showing that the FDI has really increased a lot from the Netherlands, I think a big part of that is because the Netherlands opened its business support office in just about 5 years ago. So these are, I bring this up because they're important partners for the trade and investment community in LA, the Consular Corps, and I think it's important for everyone to have the latest on what those potential partners are for you. We are, as I mentioned, we work on developing resources and guides for the Consular Corps, but also for the broader public. This is one that we developed. It's an investor's guide to LA that includes information on incentives, on exciting developments and projects in every neighborhood or council district in LA. So that's available on the mayor's website, and we update it quarterly. We have gotten, sorry for the blurriness, but we've gotten a lot of questions about business opportunities around the games and around World Cup. So we put together this kind of 2-page resource guide that coalesces all of the different procurement portals and resources for procurement, including some private sector opportunities. I'll send out this presentation and these resources to the group directly, but always important to highlight the Regional Alliance Marketplace for Procurement, which is open to international companies and is a great resource for identifying not only upcoming opportunities, but also potential business partners. You can see who's been awarded past bids. So you can see kind of the track record of success or other, if you want to work with a prime. The supplier registration portal is something that LA28 has put together. It's more of a provide your information and they'll contact you if something comes up. But RAMP is the portal for the bids themselves, and it does include LA28 bids. And that's the LA28 bids are highlighted and called out on the front page there. So those are the two more important ones. There are 2026 FIFA World Cup opportunities as well through the local supplier program. There's requirements for having been within I believe, the county of LA for a few years to be able to participate in that program. And as I mentioned, we're using these international major events as a hook to bring to get the world's eyes on all that LA has to offer. A big chunk of the opportunities, I would say, aren't necessarily going to come directly from the organizing committee from LA28 itself. It's going to be in the infrastructure around the city. And so that means Metro and MetroLink. I think exciting thing about both of those organizations is that they have a unsolicited proposal option or means of providing information about your product or your service without needing to respond to a bid. So that's one area where you can be more proactive in getting your mobility or other innovation into on the desks of the people that are making those decisions. And then there are a number of events and resources to learn about the procurement process if it is something that's newer to a company, or maybe the LA region is newer to an international company. And so those are all listed here too. For LA 20, or excuse me, for FIFA, we now, it is a major opportunity. It's the first tournament with, I'll stop sharing this here. The first tournament that'll have 48 teams and 104 matches. And LA is really a central location that for that event. We're hosting 8 matches. Only Dallas and Atlanta are hosting more than LA at 9 each. So the key ones we know are June 12th, the US is playing Paraguay in the first match. June 15th, Iran and New Zealand. June 18th, Switzerland is playing. June 21st, Belgium and Iran. And then the 4 remaining matches are to be determined. But something that we're really thinking about and interested in, and hope you all can help us with, is identifying if there are business executives that are going to be in town for those matches that we can reach out to help make a pitch off the pitch for LA. So if there are opportunities to engage with business executives that are in town for those games, for those matches, we want to be able to meet with them and maybe do tours of the city with them so that they can see what the opportunities are for investing in LA. In addition to the 100th annual World Trade Week in May, there are a couple other big international delegations that we are expecting this year. The North American Lithuanian Business Forum, a couple hundred people large event, will be in April, just before the Select LA Investment Summit, which we're also looking forward to participating in again this year. And the UK is planning a big event as well in May. So those are a couple to look out for. One sector that I want to highlight to watch is the defense tech sector. So one that we're kind of leaning into more, given the really meteoric rise of venture capital and private funding capital into defense tech in LA. There's been a big shift there. We attract more defense tech VC funding to LA than Silicon Valley does. So it's definitely one that we want to highlight and continue to build out the international connections where we can there. So that's a little bit of what we have going on. I think I'm at about 20 minutes. And with that, I can turn it back over to Sarita. We can have a conversation, ask some questions, and thanks everyone for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Christine, for that comprehensive overview. And I already see we have a question here. But just quickly, I do have one question just about one of the slides, the ones with the export markets. And I just want to, for confirmation purposes, those exports, are those goods and services combined, or just of goods?
Just goods. So they don't make available services export data at the metro level, at the city local level.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Wanted to clarify that. Okay. Well, I see that Anita has her hand up, so I'll turn it over. You can introduce yourself, your business, and then ask your question.
Hi, Christine, nice to see you again. We met in person at other things over the years. Just a quick 30-second blurb about me. I represent several currency exchange companies, and we help importers and global companies and real estate investors lower their rates and the rate fluctuation risks when they're making their cross-border payments. And then domestically, we also broker a number of different business loans, including SBA working capital, equipment finance, inventory finance, and AR finance. And so my question to you is that when you've got FDI companies coming in, are they are any of them like foreign manufacturers that are coming here to either manufacture and supply the US market or to manufacture here and then turn around and export? Or are they, I mean, yeah, that's basically the question.
Yeah, it's a great question. So we do see a mix of more service providers, retail, warehousing, logistics, but also manufacturing, as you say, to service and sell to the domestic market, mostly the United States. But I think more and more we're seeing that there are companies that realize that LA as a home base, you have a great access to Mexico, Canada, the entire Western Hemisphere. So it is also for export. And I see Brian has his hand raised, so he can, I'm sure, correct me on this, but Japanese companies are a great example of foreign direct investors who export quite a lot. I think are responsible for something like 4 or 9% of US
Yeah.
exports.
Between the two, right now it's right around 6% are represented by Japanese operations in the US exporting US product.
Yeah. So it is,
6% of US exports.
yeah. And maybe that's a segue to you, Brian. I see you had your hand raised.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions if I could. You were talking about the sports business and aggregating more interest as well as the tourism sector, I'm sure, directly benefiting. Have you done any informal studies on the Otani and the Dodgers and the Yamamoto blip in terms of attracting? Because we know just, kind of anecdotally, there's an incredible demand on the Japan side. Has any economic analysis been done informally or otherwise on that? And then one more thing, if I could feel free to contact you offline on a couple of the infrastructure issues. We have some Japanese companies that are quite interested in participating. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, the Otani mania has been very good for LA. It's been good for tourism. I think it's also been good for investment because there are Japanese companies that want to be in the market, to be able to service Japanese tourists that are coming here. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it to Little Tokyo yesterday, but that's a great example. I've heard, I just saw a story about an onigiri restaurant that's expanding rapidly in Southern California. So I think it would be great if we could do a study to draw those connections and see, but I think it's been very good for the relationship. And when the LA Dodgers played in Tokyo in, I want to say March of 2024
Towards the beginning, right?
or 25. Yeah, March of 25. We had a group out in Tokyo to do the work of promoting LA not just for tourism and sports, but also for business.
Yeah, really amazing ambassadors of Japan.
Yeah. I will also note that the congressperson who represents the district where the Dodger Stadium is located, Jessica Caloza, sorry, not congressperson, assembly person at the state level, is interested in doing a trade mission to Japan. So if you know of folks that would be interested in that, we can help connect you to the assembly
absolutely.
person.
Absolutely, not a problem at all.
I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Doug.
Thanks. Christine, thank you. That was amazing. And I love the data. It just really strengthens the case for Los Angeles as such a global city, a top global city in the world. How would you suggest that we interact with sister cities? City of Phoenix has a very well-funded sister city program that we help and support. It turns out the new president of Sister Cities was 10 years ago an intern at Global Chamber. And so Sister Cities is on my mind in terms of connectivity, and they're doing a global forum in Phoenix in May, and Sister Cities program is actually supporting it and is the main driver. Is there such a thing in Los Angeles, and how do you interact with them, and how much of that is economic versus the cultural and educational work that it does, which is also important?
Yeah, so there is a Sister Cities Association that exists outside of the city of LA, and um, and they cover all, I believe, 25 of LA's sister city relationships. 25 is quite a lot.
Wow.
Some of them are, I'll say, pretty much inactive, and then others are very active. The one that has more regular activities is the LA Nagoya sister city relationship, because there is a specific LA Nagoya sister city association. Another example is Guangzhou, also very active because there is a LA Guangzhou sister city association within Los Angeles, and has a direct counterpart in Guangzhou. Zambia, Lusaka is also an active one. So those are some of the examples that are a little bit more active. But I think there's always a desire to want to make those sister city relationships more tangible with concrete initiatives, including economic initiatives. So if there are ideas for that, we're open to it. The associations, I think, are open to it as well. The ones that are more active, I think, do include that. And Guangzhou and it is one of them with the trade fairs and the back and forth there.
Fantastic. No, that's great to know. Going back to Cesar's comment on the pitch on the pitch, that would be something we'd be very interested in helping and supporting. So we'll circle back on that. Thank you for the call that you and I had toward the end of last year on sports in general. But that's something we can definitely support and help. So thank you for the initial idea, and then today sharing that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I saw in the chat, Ruby Golo mentioned Ghana. We have a potential opportunity with the the Ghanaian ambassador to the United States, based in DC, coming out to Los Angeles early in the year. So he's interested in doing a business roundtable. That's something we may reach out to folks about as well.
That would be great. What do you think about that, Ruby?
That sounds amazing. And I'm delighted that Africa is on your radar. And we'll be happy to support you any way we can. And I'll be happy to have a chat after this, actually. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ruby is the most connected person you'll ever find in Ghana, and it turns out she knows everybody in Africa too, it seems. But she's longtime member and also executive director for Global Chamber in Accra, and she's unbelievable. Just an amazing person. So would love to be able to find a way to make that a win for Los Angeles.
Fantastic.
You mentioned Ghana, and I forgot to mention also Vietnam. I'm actually meeting the ambassador for Vietnam on Friday, which is tomorrow. So in about 24 hours, turns out it's a woman, and she's in Phoenix. And so I'm going to be zooming in, and then we have our team on the ground there that are going to be part of that. And it's mainly about the semiconductor summit that we're doing in February 18th. But there are some other side projects. And so it sounds like I should mention LA. and maybe setting up a consulate here. Is that what you're interested in doing?
Yeah, something that really moved the needle in bringing the an Indian consulate to Los Angeles was the really vocal support locally for having a consulate here. So hearing from the diaspora community, from businesses that a consulate is really needed and would be helpful, and they would have the support locally. I think that is very persuasive.
Okay. That sounds good. If I'll send you information about that meeting, by the way, and if it's possible for you to jump in at the end of the meeting, I could set it up. Like it turns out that you can jump in. Happy to do that. The Gunjan Bagla I know was key for the India one, and when we did a welcoming for him, oh my God, that guy is off the charts in terms of just an incredible ambassador for India, but also his connectivity to the business side of it is amazing. So I wish they were all that good. He's awesome.
Absolutely. And I think especially with these newer consulates that are opening in LA, the more we can support them as they open and the more we can connect them to the business community, that helps show that, they made the right choice by coming to LA. And so we really appreciate groups like this one in helping those consulates get acclimated to LA and understand the really diverse landscape here, with not only the diverse population, but also the diversity of industries and talent and skills. So that type of partnership is much appreciated.
Sarita, I'll circle back with you and Gunjan because we wanted to do something with that fellow. He's expressed an interest, and so I'll do that separately.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. If I have another question. Going back to the question about, not having the statistics on services, and when you were mentioning with the investment, that's a lot of services. So I am curious, since many of us on the call are service providers, what are some of the opportunities that you are seeing in some of those markets that you're familiar with for service providers? What are some of the key services that you are seeing that's being exported from the city of Los Angeles?
Yeah, so we do know some of our, we don't know for sure, but here's my take, is that some of our largest services exports are tourism and international students. Those are both services exports, but also I think we're very strong in royalties, obviously. And that covers music, movies, other publications, as well as architecture and design. And then I would say financial services as well. Those are some of the areas that I think LA in particular has an advantage.
Great, thank you, because that's useful information for many of us trying to figure out, well, how do we get involved and what are some of the areas to focus on as service providers? So I really appreciate that. And let's see, does anyone else want to just chime in, even if you don't necessarily have a question, just to introduce yourself so that Christine can get a sense of who is in the room, our virtual room? Go ahead, Elizabeth.
There you
Hi.
go.
Hi, Christine. Nice to see you. I've worked with Christine over the years, and I work specifically with manufacturers to help them build out their export expansion with focus on enhancing that process. Now, I have a question for you, Christine. You mentioned that there are 29,000 companies that the state knows that. Is that just Los Angeles County or is that the entire state?
That's just LA and Orange County, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what percentage of those are regular exporters and what percentage are just one-offs?
No, I know we've talked a little bit about kind of accidental exporters.
Yes.
I'm not, it may cover some of those, but I think it's more focused on those that are regularly exporting.
Okay. Well, you can
Yeah.
imagine of 29,000, if we could get 10,000 or 5,000 of them to increase, that could be significant for the local economy.
Yeah, yeah, and I think we had our work cut out for us before, as you know, and I think our jobs are even a little bit more difficult now because if it wasn't intimidating to engage in global commerce before 2025, I think people are intimidated now because there's uh, a lot to keep track of in terms of what are the market conditions, what are the tariff rates, who is in the middle of the target today. So I think I think companies need more support now in understanding the global landscape than they did before.
Okay, maybe we can talk offline.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
And I will follow up with you too, Christine, on that because that was a lot of the work last year of keeping my eye on what is happening with the different policy changes. So you can imagine how that was last year with the tariffs, and then including non-tariff barriers as well to help companies that are regular exporters to navigate or in some cases pivot if it made sense for their company. So I will follow up with you.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I forgot to mention that is very important for this year for 2026 is the review of the US-Mexico-Canada agreement. Um, so that's something that we are definitely keeping our eyes on, and I think there are business associations in the area that are looking to do advocacy on that front. So if USMCA is good for your business and you want to see it continue, especially as a trilateral agreement, and not chopped up, then that I would think that's something that I would encourage people to look at and to either help support that advocacy through business associations or individually. And then there's also a possibility for the African Growth and Opportunity Act, which expired at the end of September this past year, to be extended. So a bill recently passed the House and has moved to the Senate that would extend AGOA for, I believe, 3 years. And it doesn't introduce any other changes. It also wouldn't supersede anything that the Trump administration is doing on tariffs. So it's an imperfect solution, but it at least would extend the program, which has been really central to the U.S.-Africa trade relationship since it started in 2000, and has been a big priority for Mayor Bass when she was in Congress and served on the subcommittee on the foreign relations on the African subcommittee. So those are two other kind of policy things to look out for in 2026.
Thank you so much for that update because one of our virtual meetups, we did talk about AGOA in September, right before it expired. And that was one of the things that I did see that there was talks to extend it, if even for a very short period of time, but it's something. And then for the USMCA, I do want to mention that the Global Chamber is currently planning a talk on the USMCA before it goes up for review this summer. And so I appreciate you mentioning that because that is very important. And that's one of the things that I'm focusing on with the USMCA, what is coming down the pipeline to keep it as a trilateral agreement as opposed to the bilaterals between the different countries. And if I may, since Maricela is on the call from the Port of Los Angeles, and she was a part of that discussion during one of our sessions last year, toward the end of last year. So I don't know if she wants to chime in on that or just to introduce herself, since she's here from the Port of Los Angeles and serves as a great resource as a part of Global Chamber LA as well.
Thank you, Sarita. And hello, everyone. It's great to be here and great presentation by Christine. So many kudos for giving a nice layout of what the city's been working on and the opportunities. And then Sarita, if you can just repeat the question, I would appreciate it.
Oh, yes. Christine had talked about the USMCA as one of the agreements to watch out for or to follow in 2026, since it's going up for review. And so I just wanted to see if you had any comments. I was just sharing that the Global Chamber is in the process of planning on having a discussion, having a panel discussion on that very topic before the USMCA goes up for review in the summer. And so I just wanted to see if you had any comments or anything like that, or just to introduce yourself
Thanks.
as a part of Port of LA.
Thanks, Sarita. We are definitely monitoring the USMCA talks. And I think I will be working closely with you at Global Chamber and organizing an event possibly in April to have a bigger discussion for the membership.
What's kind of cool about that is that I'm on the Arizona District Export Council still, and we did an amazing event, almost 300 people, and almost half of them from Mexico. Canada didn't really support it very much, but it was an amazing conversation. And so Carol Colombo, who's the chair for the District Export Council there, knows Bill Edwards, who's the chair for the Southern California District Export Council. And they're both on our advisory board. So we kind of gotten together in combination with Sarita, who has some connections to venues and some other folks who are interested. So Sarita's going to probably pull something pretty amazing here together. And so it's an important topic, and Sarita, you got your hands all over it. Thank you.
Yes. And I would be remiss to not mention that I attended the Port of LA's event with the USMCA as well. The first week of December, was it? In early December, which was a good eye-opener. Bill Edwards spoke at that event as well. So, so there are a lot of discussions, and I'm just really excited to bring Global Chamber LA into the discussion with all of the members, with Maricela, Bill Edwards, Christine, and others that are on the board, so that we can, be at the forefront of this discussion as well.
And Sarita, may I ask, thank you for bringing that up. So at that international trade forum that was held in December at the Port of LA, we did have a nice discussion regarding the USMCA, and we had representatives from the Consulate of Canada and the Consulate of Mexico. So I'm sure we can pull them in for the Global Chamber event, because they definitely have opinions, and both staffs are actually working on it with their government. So I think they would be great representatives to include in that discussion.
Great. All right, coming together already.
I think there's a hand up. Ruby, did you have your hand up?
Yes, indeed. Thank you for the floor, Doug. Christine, you did mention that Africa, you are focusing on Africa, and you did mention trade missions as well. I just wanted to know, do you see any appetite to bring out a delegation to Africa? Can we help you on that? Because trade mission is an expertise that I have, and I'll be happy to discuss that. Secondly, as you may be aware, Ghana has qualified for the World Cup. And so we do have some business executives visiting. Is there any opportunity for us to do an event around the World Cup? If so, I'll be happy to discuss that as well. Thank you.
Oh yeah, that's great. I think there's always a desire to do a trade mission, and especially to Africa. It would be the first time in many, many years that the city of LA has done a trade mission to Africa. I think the last time maybe goes back to who was it? It was Mayor Tom Bradley, I think, was the last mayor to travel to Africa with a trade mission. But we did have the opportunity, our Deputy Mayor of International Affairs had the opportunity, with the support from the Port of LA, to join a state-led delegation to Kenya and Nigeria. And that was the first time that even a deputy mayor had done joined a trade mission like that for many years. That was led by the secretary of the California State Transportation Agency, CalSTA, and who is Tox Omashakin. And so he has kind of been designated, I understand, by the governor to lead on many of the California-Africa relationship, including on sustainability and trade and transportation. Coming out of that delegation, it was announced that UC, I believe it's UC Irvine. No, sorry. One of the UCs is setting up a transportation research center, institute, and hub in Nairobi. So we're looking at partnering more with Nairobi, and the state of California did enter into an MOU both with Kenya and with Nigeria as a result of that. So there is a lot happening, and we're working really closely with the colleagues in the governor's office on the building out the ties between LA and California and countries on the continent. And that, I think that's very important because there's it's has such great potential and is so overlooked when it comes to export markets and investment partners going both ways.
Thank you.
Great. Well, I know we have a few minutes left, and so I just want to open up the floor if anyone else just wants to introduce themselves who hasn't had an opportunity to speak.
I think Brian had his hand up earlier on. I don't know if he's still in the room.
Yeah, I just had a separate question. One of the areas that you highlighted, Christine, was defense. And this really dovetails with what is happening in Japan right now. As you probably know, Japan is going from, in terms of defense spending, global defense spending rankings, it's going from number 13 to number 3 within the next couple of years. USA, China, then Japan. So I do know that there are defense concerns, interested and have already had meetings, and you've probably been involved in arranging some of these meetings from the Japan side. What standout areas do you see in the city of LA or immediate surrounding areas that are really ripe for this sort of collaboration, the type of quality control, the type of technology that Japan is able to bring to this global market now?
Those are really good questions. I think a couple of the things that we're seeing pop up are LA really has an advantage and a expertise when it comes to hardware, defense tech hardware. So if you think of the Bay Area, that's more of the software. LA is more on the hardware side of things. Drones and all types of autonomous vehicles or equipment, robotics. Those are some of the areas that we're seeing.
I guess just quickly, if I don't know, Mike, Dolan, I know you put your information in the chat, but if you just want to quickly introduce yourselves and any opportunities through your organizations that align with some of the things we were talking about today, and Freddie as well.
Freddie, good to see you. The shirt
Yeah.
fits almost. How are you?
And Thierry as well. You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I couldn't get off mute. I only do Zooms about 100 times a day. I couldn't get off mute. Yeah, nice to see you. No, Christine, really nice to meet you. I echo everything you're saying in Africa for sure. We were talking at lunch yesterday. I was in LA, back in Utah today, but in the next 10 to 15 years, Africa will be where all the labor's at. It's a very conscientious people and willing, and so as education and infrastructure catches up to the desire of the people to just do work and contribute, that's going to be they'll be a force to be reckoned with. And that my business, Listo Global, we help connect U.S. companies to global talent in other countries. So not to bring them here, but to connect with them there where they're at, keep them in their communities, and do it compliantly. And so all the HR and contracts and payroll and all those kinds of things. And so, yeah, very much echo those sentiments. So, yeah, nice to meet you and great presentation.
Thank you, Freddie.
Thank you.
Quickly, Doland, if you could have a few words.
Sure, just quickly, Christine, so good to meet you and great information. Really interesting about the Nordics and the growth in the Nordics. Interesting to see that. But similar to Freddie's comment, was what we do. I'm partnered with a gentleman named Blaine Bartlett. We work with companies and organizations of all kinds of sizes to help them create leadership structures that empower their teams so they can accelerate, have sustainable success. But we've been doing it for a long time. We're both old guys. I'm very interested in the comments around Africa. I do some work with some folks in Uganda and in Kenya as well as my partner does a lot of work in Kenya. So I would agree. I think there's a lot of emerging talent and a lot of focus in those areas, not only on economic growth, infrastructure growth, but then sustainability through leadership. So we're participating in Uganda around their Global Leadership Day and a bunch of other things that are going on. So really interesting to kind of hear that. So, but nice to meet you.
Great, that's great. And we were talking a little bit about the consulate representation that's in LA. There are close to 95 honorary consuls general and consulates. Unfortunately, not many from the African continent. So there's only 3 full-time consulates representing African countries, Kenya, South Africa, and Egypt. So that's definitely a priority area for us too, in general, is to have more consulates representing African countries in LA. But we have also seen an uptick in engagement, at least from the continent in Africa. If you have noticed, Visit Rwanda is now a sponsor is the official tourism sponsor of the Clippers and the Rams. And that's a big first for the US market.
Yeah, it was the Ugandan elections yesterday, but I haven't seen how that turned out. So they or on Tuesday, I should say, they literally turned off access to their country in and out so that they could get through the election unscathed. But which they can do. But yeah, I'll chat with them about that. It's interesting Uganda's not represented. So
no, yeah, I don't think they don't have an honorary consul either. So that would be a good one.
Cool.
Okay, well, thank you so much, because we're right at the top of the hour. I think Doug logged off, and I know there were a few other people. If you want to put your information, okay, thanks, Deary. There's Doug. Put your information in the chat, but I want to just use this time to say thank you so much, Christine, for that great information, for joining us and sharing that information on this virtual meetup. And again, I am Sarita Jackson, the Global Chamber Los Angeles Advisory Board Chair. And don't forget, we meet every month, every third Thursday of the month at 10 o'clock Pacific time. So I look forward to seeing all of you next month and speaking with many of you offline.
Just somewhat coincidental, Christine, is I have a meeting back to back with the city of Philadelphia and Pierre-Olivier Luguez, part of their economic development team that does international work. I used to live in Philadelphia for many years. Pierre-Olivier, sorry, you jumped into my personal email, which we're using for the Global Chamber Los Angeles chapter. And there's someone here that you should meet, Christine Peterson, who leads economic development internationally for the city of LA. Do you know each other already?
No, I don't think so. Very
It's a
nice
pleasure.
to meet you. Yes, very nice to meet you.
Very
And I'm
good.
sorry to be chiming in into your meeting. Sorry about that.
That is okay. It's been such a pleasure connecting with everyone. So Doug will let you have your meeting, but pleasure to connect with you as well, Pierre.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, Sarita. Great meeting.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks, everybody.